everyone. So twice in a week, that's more than enough. This is our second stream of the week. A very special welcome to everyone following from Steam. If you want to interact with us, join us on Twitch. Make sure that you chat there or on YouTube. That's the only way we can see your questions and things. But if you're on Twitch already, hello everyone. Hello for this very special stream that we dedicate to our Slitherine publisher sale. This is our annual appointment now. We've got it every year around mid-February to beginning of March, depending on what year and what happens every year. But this is the event. This is going to be going on for Friday, another day, for today, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So make sure you grab the games you want at a very special discount there. It's going super well. So thank you everyone who made a purchase over the last 24 hours. Just to give you a scope, we had over 100,000 copies sold, 2.5 million page views, and about 740,000 unique visitors to the Steam product pages. It's a super big thank you that we want to give to everyone who made and became part or made another purchase on the Slitherine catalog. It's really big numbers, and thank you very much. Just to give you a quick rundown, of course, the best selling game we had on this we are having on the sale is so far is Gladius. Surprisingly or unsurprisingly, depending on what side you're on, our second best selling has been Distant Worlds Universe so far. After that, there's Command, Panzer Corps 2, Fantasy General 2. And special mentions to Shadow Empire, which is doing really well. It's a game we launched last year and started surprising us in all sorts of ways, and now it's doing super well on Steam as well. So thank you very much for everyone helping us spread the word on Shadow Empire. It's a complex game. It's a niche game, but it's ringing so many bells. It's really doing well. And ICBM and Stirring Abyss as well, doing super well on the Steam sale now. They're doing well, and we're very happy about it because they're part of the K project. The K project is a project we started last year in the middle of the first lockdown, when we started seeing a lot of indie developers were not really able to showcase their products during trade shows and all the opportunity we had to meet them live. So we started creating this fund on our side to actually fund these indie projects created by very small teams. And the first two we launched were ICBM and Stirring Abyss last year. And they're doing well, and they're also contributing to future indie development, indie titles. So basically how it works is that any sale generated by any of these games will be taking 5% hit on our side of the revenue, and we'll put that money into a fund to fund further indie projects. This is how the K project works. It's a self-sustained project, hopefully, so that more games we sell, the more we can fund and so on. And it's a way of contributing to one part of the video games market that's suffering from the pandemic. As a whole, the video games market is doing super well during this period because everybody's home and playing games. So but there are parts of the industry that are suffering more, and one of these is the indie development studios, and we're happy that we can give our contribution there. So during the stream you can ask any question. I'll try and answer them all, and but as we go, this is very much of a chat, so I've got notes here, but try and make your questions in the chat, and I'll try and answer them all. Will War in the Pacific ever be available on Steam, Branuk? It's unlikely, I would say, unlikely at this stage. We are probably not going to have War in the Pacific or War in the Pacific Admiral Edition on Steam in the next, in a foreseeable future. What are the chances of future faction DLCs for Gladius? Many chances, a lot of chances. Choose the word, but there's the guys are working on more content for Gladius. That's definitely the case. Are you going to make a Star Wars strategy game? I hope so. My hoodies are there to witness that, but we're not working on any Star Wars content at the moment. But we'll make sure that the first thing we say when we sign a Star Wars deal is make a public announcement. That's for sure. We have fingers crossed that yes, absolutely. So this Steam sale was also the opportunity for us to introduce more content to games. Why? When we have the Steam sale, this is a big opportunity for us to be on the front page of Steam and showcase some of the games that we have very seldom opportunities to show to many people. So we usually say to the developers, would you like to have a brand new content in the game or a new feature or something to, you know, make sure that we can highlight that specific title towards the audience? And many developers are, you know, just saying yes, we'd love to do that. So sometimes it's paid for content, and this is a good example for Armor Brigade and Fantasy General, where we're actually releasing a DLC alongside the sale. But many other games have just a little bit of extra content that's related to maybe a feature or, you know, a new map or scenario or something like that. So we're going to go through that now, so to make sure that you understand, you know, the extent of what a sale means for us. It's just not just putting a lot of discounts towards the products, but it's really trying to make this worthwhile for everyone. Warney's pre-order starts next week. Yes, absolutely. We think we're going to start Tuesday. We sorted out the manuals, so we now have dates and weights and everything. So definitely going to start next week, probably on Tuesday. Any news on Steel Tigers? Yes and no, in a sense that the 2x3 games team is hard at work finishing War in the East 2, which is releasing on the 25th of March. After they finish that, there will be a little bit of time to balance things, to see, you know, to fix anything that's, you know, coming out of the main release, and after that we'll pick up the work again on Steel Tiger. So it's going to be some times before we get to give you more news about Steel Tigers. Did anyone else get Field of Glory Empires? That's not for me to answer. And I'm going to come to what's new on Shadow Empires very soon. Shadow Empire very soon. So the first two things I wanted to mention were Armor Brigade DLC and Fantasy General 2 DLC. Why? Because these are the two games that actually received extra paid for content. So Armor Brigade, this is the third DLC. It's two new armies, Czechoslovakia and the Netherlands. The first time is it's about 200 new units we're adding to the game. And we are also adding a new campaign. It's the first time we introduce a campaign in the DLC. You know how the maps work on Armor Brigade, where you can pick a selection of the map and you can play a battle within that selection. What we have done in this case is actually create a series of linked missions with a proper campaign. It's an experiment. We'll see if it works, because that's a very cool way of providing you guys some more content in the future. So if you guys like it and if it works well, we might as well, we might keep on generating more of these. It is a fantastic game, yeah. Time and Tax. I think it's one of the games that you need to play to actually understand how deep and well executed it is, and it's got so many opportunities and so many cool ways of playing it. It's unbelievable. So the guys before releasing Armor Brigade, the guys worked on this game for 10 years. Then, when we released it, then we started releasing DLCs after, pretty frequently. But it was a 10, 11 years project for the guys, for the developers. And, when you get to that point, you really want your game to be successful. And I think we got there. I think, that the Armor Brigade actually had the success it deserved. and we're working on more now. So stay tuned on that. Should I think close combat when I see A, B? Not to minimize, but just to get a sense. Well, actually, yes. In a sense, yes. It's a kind of a different gameplay style, but in terms of pace and some of the elements are pretty much they have in common with close combat, definitely. Fantasy General 2, this is a DLC we've introduced yesterday with an interview with Jan Wagner of Owned by Gravity. This is the third DLC. It's the first one that's outside of the General Edition. We sold the General Edition at launch with the first two DLCs coming free after that. So this is the first one that's coming outside, and it's pretty, there's a lot of new stuff. It's not only, hey, here's a bit of more content, it's a new race or anything. It's a lot, there's a lot more stuff in the game, in the DLC. First of all, the new race you play, the Lizard Folk, is bringing a lot of new gameplay features to the product. First of all, it's a marine warfare faction, so nothing that was in the game before. It's a race that evolves in a very different way from all the others. So all the tech tree stuff is completely different, and there's a lot of, you see it from the screenshot, there's a lot more variety in terms of visuals. So we're adding not only a DLC there, but it's a massive amount of content and a massive amount of new gameplay. So make sure you give it a look, because it's a pretty. I think the developers there made a great job at. Okay, yeah, you played Fantasy General. Now I'm gonna show something completely different within the same framework, and it's working super well, because that's exactly what players want, right? They want the same experience but different things, and I would take this DLC as an example of how to generate more content after a game's been released. So kudos to Owned by Gravity. They've done a fantastic job at this. Is the Star Wars hoodie hinting at something? I wish, Kushan. Not now, but we'll try hard for the future. FOG 2 series, best ancient medieval war games ever. I take this opportunity, Mordante69 saying this in the chat, that to introduce you actually to one of the features that have been added to FOG 2 medieval. So we took the opportunity of the sale just weeks after the release of the Groi 2 Medieval to introduce the time warp feature. So now if you own FOG 2 Medieval, and you can also play against ancient armies in skirmish mode and in multiplayer battles. So this is only for single battles. You can fight ancient armies against medieval armies and vice versa. In medieval, of course, you cannot play ancients versus ancients. That would be giving away too much, I guess. But this will allow you to create all these what-if scenarios that a lot of players ask us all the time. So we thought about it during development. We started working on it very, very late into the development of FOG 2 Medieval. And so that's why it's taken a little bit more time to introduce it. We didn't release it with FOG 2 Medieval, but we're happy to say, like a couple of weeks after, or 3 weeks after release, that we're able to give this to you guys. We're super happy to do it, and Richard Bodley Scott has been pushing a lot to allow people to play with this feature. So again, it's a way of, it's how we do it, right? We have a constant back and forth with the developers, and that's just thing. They listen to the public, to the players, and they come to us with ideas and such. So it's this is really the result of many discussions, and I'm happy that we can release it now. I guess it's time to have a look at Flashpoint. Well, yes, that's in the sale. You can pick it up there, absolutely. Fans of Rocky Horror Picture Show. Who's not a fan of Rocky Horror Picture Show? Who's not? The time warp memes are all over, so that's for sure. Let's get on with ICBM. Well, ICBM, what we did for the sale was we've introduced a new improved mod. I would say this is actually a new mode in the game that's coming out of a mod from the community. The ICBM modding community is super active. They are just, you know, producing so much content, and one of the guys produced the night mode. This is the evolution of the night mode. We work with nickname Tarsus in the Discord. He's created this. We've implemented it in the game, so you can now play the night view, and you can switch between modes in the main menu. We have also launched a tournament system for the product. Now, this is still in beta, so we're actually taking this opportunity of the publisher sale to test it properly. There is a beta tournament going on. I think we have 2 slots available in the tournament. If you want to join, you can join from within the game. So if you're playing the game, just log into the game, go on the multiplayer mode, and you'll join from there and help us fine-tune the multiplayer system, because the tournament system, because this is going to be very interesting to bring forward. Of course, ICBM is not it's not over. There's a lot of content being worked on. There's a lot of talks about what is coming next in the game. You know that, again, I was saying this is a game coming from the K project, so it's an indie project. Actually, it's a one-man developed product almost, with a little bit of outside help. But the game has been developed by a single guy, and so it might not be that it's super fast that we generate new content, but we're definitely thinking about more and more stuff to add to the product. So stay tuned on that. And it's been reviewed massively well, and it's a game that people love it. So it's we're looking forward to more into the ICBM series. Any more plans for DLCs for 40K Gladius? Yes, we are working on more. We're going to announce what's coming next probably in around a month's time. And there is content planned, DLCs planned for another, dare I say, a couple of years now. So we're that's sort of the time frame we're looking. So there's going to be content coming pretty steadily over time. How many years ago I tried to make it possible to create proper 3D party? I tried to make one, but API, you'd have to ask that in the Discord. Edible Crab, I wouldn't know how to answer that, sorry. Strategic Command. Yeah, let me tell you something about Strategic Command. Good punt. Strategic Command, well, the Strategic Command guys, Fury Software, have worked into, well, first of all, we've implemented the tournament system for Strategic Command World War I. So if you want to join, we have still around 15 slots available in the tournament for Strategic Command World War I. It's a long tournament, so make sure that you save some time to play that throughout, because it's going to be pretty long. We've also made the Blue Max mod now officially implemented in the game. You've seen bits of it in the screenshots that were going in the side window here. Sorry, here. So that's for World War I. We have worked pretty hard, and the Fury Software guys have been working hard into implementing the tournament system, because the tournaments on World at War were doing so well. We decided to implement on World War I, and if that works, we'll do a Europe at War as well. but we're absolutely thrilled to add this mode to World War I, because you know, it's a game that's constantly adding more players, and it's a great way of you know, creating this sense of community around the product. So we're very, very happy about it. So what you're seeing here is the actual mod for World War I called Blue Max. This was a mod. It's now fully implemented into the game. How is Battle Sector coming along? Battle Sector is planned for a release in May. We are full into beta now. Subscribe to the beta. If you go on slitherine.com/beta, you can see all the games that are in beta. There are plenty now. Same at matrixgames.com/beta. So you have plenty of opportunities to join pretty cool beta tests. And Battle Sector is coming along pretty well. We don't foresee any major delay. We have actually waited a long time before we announced it, because we wanted to make sure that this was going to be like a short time frame between announcement and release, and the game has, you know, legs to go for ages. So make sure that you wish list. Actually, on the wish lists, we've seen big jumps in wish lists, of course, on Starship Troopers, on Battle Sector, on Distant Worlds 2. Over the course of the first 24 hours of the sale. So it's a great indicator for us. It helps us a lot in terms of planning things. So if you want to wish list a game, do it. It helps us. Every sign of interest is helping us. So make sure that you join us there. What about Warplan Pacific and DC Ardennes Offensive Beta? I think they're running quite well. Warplan Pacific is well into beta now. We're actually going to show you the game very soon, in just, I think, a couple of weeks or more or less. DC Ardennes Offensive is a little bit more uncertain. Actually, can you pop the timetable up so that we can show where we are on different games? That might help you guys. You can put it full screen so that everyone can see all the different release dates and things. So this is a bit of a schedule and roadmap of what's happening now within Q2 and early Q3, which means, you know, early summer. Nightlight, I've actually said about Steel Tigers. Steel Tigers, as you can see, War in East 2 is releasing on March the 25th. This is what 2x3 games are hard at work finishing. Once that will be done, we are going to get cracking on Steel Tigers. So we can't really say anything on Steel Tigers in terms of release dates, but it's definitely the next project where 2x3 is going to focus on. So we'll make sure we keep you updated. The PR, you keep your PR busy. I don't know who this guy is. Thank you, Robbie, for saying about DC Ardennes. That's good to have colleagues in the chat to answer questions I don't know the answer for. So War in East 2. War in East 2, we are releasing the game on the 25th of March. We're going live with the pre-orders next week. We will have, we're printing the manuals. The manuals are 520 pages long. It's like huge books, you know, the one with the hardcover that we usually do. This is the biggest manual we've ever done. Of course, with printing and shipping and so on, we had so many question marks, but now we sort of cleared all the questions. So we're going to start pre-orders next week. The first 1,000 books are going to pre-ordered, will get the books at release or shortly after. The other ones will get the books slightly later because of the shipping times and costs. So we had to sort of stagger releases. We don't release, Henrik, we don't say any prices before it actually the actual games goes on sale. So I don't think we've actually decided on a price we actually decided on a price on War in East 2, but I can't tell you. And yes, Rakas Sakar, pre-orders will go live next week. probably on Tuesday, if not Tuesday, the day after. We need to prepare the contracts and make sure that you can actually pre-order, like click on a button and buy it now. So that's what's needed, what we need to do right now. After that, we have in April, we have the Combat Mission Cold War game releasing. And into May, June, everything starts to be a bit fuzzier in sense of actual release date. We definitely know that Battle Sector is releasing in May. We definitely know that Warplan Pacific is releasing during the second quarter, so within June. Everything else you see has been announced. We have an idea of when it's releasing, so Decisive Campaign is possibly Q2 or early Q3, so July. Starship Troopers is June. Valorant Victory depends on the beta. We're starting beta as within a matter of days. So when we'll see how the beta goes, we'll know more about when the release date is. And Distant Worlds is into full beta. We stopped the initial phase 1 of the beta. We will stop it next week, and we'll start phase 2 the week after when we start adding more people. We're getting an inordinate amount of feedback on Distant Worlds 2, and just browsing through the feedback has been a job on its own. So it's been a really interesting couple of weeks for the team at Codeforce. So everyone in chat today then gets into the Pyrrhikos. I think you've asked this to me before, and I told you that you were going to be in the next wave. If it's not you, you will be the next wave. Just make sure. I'll ask Francesco in the chat to take note and add Pyrrhikos to be in the next wave. That was somebody else. Then I made 2 promises now. So more of it was me. So you see, I like when you have honest customers, and you'll both be in the next wave. That's a promise. After that, Stirring Abyss. This is also another product that got a pretty chunky set of updates. We've added a new enemy called the Harvester. The Harvester is a completely new challenge for expert players. It's a creature that's feeding up on the sanity of your crew, and it's a pretty interesting creature to face. We've also added to the guys that the development team has also added new missions. These missions are not part of the main campaign, but they are side quests. They're also available in the endless mode. So there's a lot more content again in the game. So if you already own Stirring Abyss, you'll be able to jump back in the game and play more. If you don't own it, then it's discounted. There's more content, so why not jump in now? And it's actually doing quite well during the sale. I'm very happy that these indie products get the attention they deserve. Right, so this is I think this is everything for the actual updates. Shadow Empire, sorry, I forgot Shadow Empire. Vic is gonna kill me. Shadow Empire, we actually had something to say about Shadow Empire. Sorry, I need a bit more tea here. Right, Shadow Empire. One of the things that I was primed to say is that we have 150 bullet points of patch notes since release. This is just to say that Vic at VR Designs has been working endless hours to not only fix stuff but improve things since the game's been released. The game's not even a year old. It's just generating so much interest. It's a new benchmark, I think, for whoever's really into 4X strategy games. Shadow Empire is your new set of challenges. It's brought the gameplay depth to a new level, and this is all coming from the mind of Vic, and everything you see in the game is his vision of what the game should have been, and I'm super excited about. And the game itself, I'm personally a big fan of how Vic works, and the way he does get into the games are he's on babies, so he's working so hard to make them really cool, and really what he has as a vision for what the game should end up being. So when you talk about a war game like a World War II war game, like the Decisive Campaign series, it's kind of easier in a sense because you're tied to history. So you're going into that vision, but with some very fixed framework, right? Shadow Empire is just the world. It's just something completely new and absolutely out of this world. We're showing some screenshots here. I don't know if you want to go through one by one, Bruno, here, but we've added the new Hydra class planet, which is basically a lot of water surface, and gives you a lot more challenges for how the life forms evolve in the actual planet. We've added alien natives as they're presented as a minor regime in the game. Also, they will have some tech and some specific weaponry to of their own, and so it's again adding. It's almost not really adding a faction. It's really adding a level of gameplay in the product. Then we are having to we've added, if you go on screenshot 5, I think it was, you can now discard stratagems in excess to earn new scrap points. This is a mechanic that will mean something to expert players, but it's something that was really vocally requested by the community. So and it's you can actually use scrap points to craft new stratagems. So it's kind of a I would say it's kind of loot boxes, but I can't say that. But it's the idea of adding this level of this level of chance in the game is really cool, because it's it's adding surprises all the time. Shadow Empire is, by the way, one of the best selling in the sale yesterday in the first 24 hours. So I'm pretty sure that you guys are everyone in the chat here is an ambassador for Shadow Empire. All will try it out at some point, or will wishlist it because it's definitely a game that deserves that level of attention. So this is about the sale. We wanted to take about half an hour to introduce all this stuff and to answer some of the questions. If you guys have more questions, the biscuits, Richard, this is a Madeleine. It's a French sweet. We are treating ourselves today with a very international buffet. Anything happening on with Strategic Command World War II War at War? Not anything that goes beyond fixing, and the guys are not actively producing content for that. Any more questions, guys? You bake them out. Well, ship some over. Why you say that in the chat and don't ship stuff? We'll send you the address. You can ship some Madeleines over to the office. Just released a new terrain mod for Medieval, Mordante. Well, something that the guys might want to check. If you have links to graphics to that, just don't hesitate posting it in the chat. And yeah, so I was saying, all right, yeah, Bruno's telling me we have a little bit more to say about Panzer Corps 1941, and wanted to show you a little video. This is just released, this is a battle video we've just released for the new DLC coming out on the 18th of March. Panzer Corps 2 1941 will also be the opportunity for us to introduce the tournament system on Panzer Corps. It's going into full beta next week, so if you're in the beta of Panzer Corps 2 and you want to opt in for that, there will be a closed tournament in beta next week, and you can join. That's going to be interesting because, of course, Panzer Corps 2 tournament has been something that players requested quite a lot of times and pretty vocally. And will Panzer Corps 2 always be subscribers only on Slitherine Store? Panzer Corps 2 always be subscribers only on Slitherine Store. You know, this is for the Slit Store. Yes, I guess this is probably going to happen, stay like that for a while, yes. Any plans to take Slitherine public? Not really, no. We're happy as it is, and it's doing well, and in the current market would be wouldn't be looking at any move of that kind. That was an interesting question, unexpected question as well. Don't become Paradox, please. Well, in what sense? You know, I take Paradox as example in many areas. So I don't know, you know, what parts of Paradox you're mentioning or referring to, but I'm happy to answer any of the things that you don't like. But Paradox is an aspirational example. It's, you know, in many ways. So why not try and become Paradox in ways that we like Paradox is, absolutely. And yeah, so we'll show you the Panzer Corps 2 1941 video. In the meantime, if you want to post questions, do that so that we'll answer them just before we close, and we'll see you next week after that.
The Balkans are being crushed underneath the might of the unstoppable German war machine, and in Axis Operations 1941, you will be in command. The British, realizing that discretion will be the better part of valor this day, moved to extract their forces via Greece. Caught near Thermopylae, the British forces fleeing the Balkans scrambled to escape. However, conflicting orders demanding no more retreats would see British relief forces digging in nearby. In the famous choke point of ancient battles past, a mighty defense was preparing to hold back the German advance at any cost. Speed will be critical to future success, so your first move should be to crush the retreating Balkan forces and their supply chain before it can escape to the safety of the British defensive line. If the Balkans forces could escape, it would be a significant boost to an otherwise struggling war effort. Having done as much damage as possible, an assault against the pass is inevitable. You have choices. You could simply smash your way through. This will not be elegant nor easy, but if you trust in the power of your tanks, infantry, and artillery, a breakthrough is not beyond your reach. Such a breakthrough is not going to come without cost, as the defenders heavily entrenched, so expect losses. However, perhaps you balk at the thought of walking into an ambush at such an obvious choke point. Since the British forces are in chaos, perhaps there might be some way to make the defenders' lives that much more difficult. Axis Operations 1941 puts the decision in your hands. Choose wisely.
Yeah, no, there's an interesting DLC discussion there, and I think it's something that we might want to do again, you know, in another stream. But you know, I think there's always been this thing that, you know, Paradox does the DLCs in a way that, you know, customers don't like, but they end up selling millions. So they don't like, but they buy. So it's a weird, you know, mix of feelings I've got about DLCs. How we tend to look at DLCs is usually, you know, what works best for the game, right? It goes it's both a design and a commercial aspect that has to be married. And some games just are good, solid, work very well when they launch, and they have the good basis to create just content, right? Some games have Gladius, for instance. It's a solid gameplay, but every time you add a faction, you actually add gameplay differences and unbalance the whole thing if you don't do it well. So you've got to be very careful there in adding content per se, like new units and or new terrain or whatever, but also make the relevant gameplay changes that will make your game still working, your old game still working. There are games that are really more about adding more features, right? So they are so well created, so the content is already there. Take Shadow Empire. How can you create more content for Shadow Empire? It's a game with all the content already, so you'd add more features, more angles to the product. So I wouldn't say that there's a right and wrong way of doing DLCs. It's more like what is right for that specific game, and that's how we usually tackle the subject, and that's how we have the discussions with the developers, because always consider that producing a DLC, okay, it's not like producing a new game, but it takes a long amount of time. So especially when you do like art-intensive DLCs, like new units, creating new units with new animations and new stuff, it takes a long time. And add to that the programming time and so on. So it's not like, hey, we got it ready, ship it out. So every time you plan your team to go into a specific direction in terms of the DLC, you're not doing something else. So we've got to be very, very careful in how we treat that subject. And any help you guys give us, in the forums or in the feedback in the reviews, and discussion boards and so on, is super helpful, because developers and ourselves, producers, we always look at this stuff and look at what would work. So for instance, give an example. We know you guys want allied content for Panzer Corps 2. We don't ignore that, and it will come at some point. But we've decided to use the team to start with the Grand campaign, with the Axis Operations campaign first, and then we'll add that later on. So it's really, a resources issue, and we'd like to please everyone, but we can't. That's a real thing. Yeah, so in general, thank you for the discussion, because it's really good to have that interaction, and I will make sure that we'll keep that discussion going, and we are entertaining that conversation, and make sure that we try and satisfy as many people as possible. When give you tools for Panzer Corps 2 to mod this nice game? Alberto in the chat can answer that question. I don't know about that, sorry. Medieval DLC is coming soon. There is one DLC in the works right now, and we'll announce it very, very soon. Right, so, well, guys, it's been a pleasure having you. Anyone following us on Steam now, make sure you follow us on the social media. We've got a Discord channel, we've got a Facebook channel, we've got a Twitter channel, we've got the forums as well. But, other than that, enjoy the games. Make sure you get all the games you can in this next few days, because these are, very good opportunities to find out more about Slitherine. And whoever was in the chat today on Twitch, thank you very, very much, for coming back every week at tea time, and we'll see you next week on Thursday. Bye.